Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. I am Ssekikubo with a touch of flu and cold and cough, but I am managing. Derek Mandera, most welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you, Oscar, and I'm good for having me.
Thank you. And who do we have in the studio? Namfi. You're most welcome to the Capital Gang, Marianne Kasule Namfuka.
Thank you, Oscar. Your stairs almost killed me.
You're out of practice since you've been away.
I know, right? But you could invest in lifts or something to make our lives easier.
This is a
Good
small
morning
building.
to our listeners.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity to do some exercise.
Albeit very little exercise.
Yeah.
I used to do boot camp,
Yes.
so I'm not as bad as that.
Keyword is used to.
The way you're panting.
No, because we made a pact with Oscar that I would be on time.
Yes.
And
You are nearly on time.
Almost.
So
I
glad
was on time.
to have you back.
Thank you, Oscar.
How has
Good
it
morning
been
to our listeners.
in the desert?
Oscar, that's another story for
Yes.
another day. Good morning to our listeners. Okay, maybe we can start the show and then
Yes.
we can get into the deserts.
Get into the desert.
During the show?
So
As
we
and when.
we
I
were,
have to thank our listeners.
Yes.
You're right.
They've been good to me
Yeah. There was a
during my time
hearted
away.
campaign on social media.
I saw.
But maybe social media doesn't work. Who knows?
Oh, who knows?
Who knows?
No, but we're in the era of social media.
Yeah.
You can no longer get away with anything.
True.
The
Topics
other
for
day
the
when
day.
I saw
Go on.
people walking out on the president, I thought it was a dawn for a new day. For democracy and leadership. In the past, they would have been shot. But now with the glare of social media, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got to give social media some credit.
Yeah. They were
And-
persuaded to come back and take their seats.
Were they now?
Yeah, yes, they did. It is kind of rude to talk away from a president.
It is. It's
Yeah.
like walking out on your father. But if
No, there are no ifs. You don't walk out on him. So
If the situation calls for it, yes, you will.
The topics we have for discussion are election season, and then the censure. So I'm hoping Hon Ssekikubo is on his way. Ofonopondo and Ibra Semuju have sent apologies. They cannot make it. So here we are. But before we get on to those topics, maybe we'd also going to discuss the burial of President Rais. But hot news coming in, Derek, is the ICJ. Navi is a lot here. There's ICJ and ICC. So what was the pronouncement of the ICJ? ICJ is International Court of Justice. Yes. You're the journalist in the studio. The ICJ pronounced itself that there should be an immediate ceasefire. And then the question, as you get all the facts ready, Namfi, does the ICJ have jurisdiction over Israel?
Of course they do.
They do.
Yes. But it's a situation of Abana na Ghana. But let him, as a journalist, first tell us.
Yeah, certainly there's jurisdiction, like you make mention, and the pronouncement comes probably, one would even say, belatedly, because
they were there only recently.
Yeah.
And South Africa has put another claim.
Yeah, I think this is something the world has been waiting for, this pronouncement. Already there's a lot of damage that has happened, but the bigger question will definitely be whether this pronouncement is heeded to or not. I know of international sanctions that have been pronounced on various leaders and various countries, but never honored. The International Court of Justice pronouncing itself on the Israel matter is one that one would actually say is long overdue, and we are hoping that that it is heeded to, that the players listen to it and actually take word for whatever it has come. Because, like I said, there's one aspect of life where in many countries such pronouncements and sanctions have not been listened to. Yeah. I think the biggest discussion is whether or not
Israel will heed the immediate ceasefire.
Ceasefire, right.
Yes. Namfi, the lawyer? Israel, immediate ceasefire? You see that happening?
Of course not. Israel has a certain level of impunity. They've always had this impunity. And they've always gotten away with it with the backing of the United States. I mean, it's America is a global superpower. And when you look at the history of America and Israel, you will understand where the impunity from Israel comes from. Having said that, I think the world has evolved over the years. These are not the 90s or the 80s or the 70s, where they could blatantly ignore peace accords like the Oslo peace accords that they signed. Now they need to actually rethink their strategy, especially what they've done in Gaza since September. They thought, as usual, they'd get away with it because, I mean, Israel has done worse.
They've been getting away with it.
They have.
But they claim they're trying to rescue their people, and I think recently they found 6 dead bodies
of their people.
The captives.
You know, at this point, whatever Israel says, we will need a third party to verify this, who is not even America. Because there is one thing to find 6 dead bodies, there's another to try and justify a continued campaign that is not going away. And I kind of agree with the president of, the Jordanian prime minister and what he said about the whole rationale behind this campaign. And we discussed it at that time because that was before I was voted off the show. And the cynics will tell you that the reason Israel is doing this is to try and push more Palestinians out to Egypt and Jordan. And that is why you saw Jordan and Egypt closing their borders to try and say, look, we know what you're doing. It's not that we are not allowing our brothers into, because these are Arabs. And when you look at the population of Jordan, a huge number of them are actual Palestinians. They are all over the Middle East, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, etc. But when you think about what Israel is trying to do, you have to think about the long term. How successful can they be in the long term? And for me, I'll look to history. Is it justified for you to kill people, to make everybody suffer for something that is going to be temporary? Because let's not kid ourselves. Oscar, what are the chances that that Israel is going to remain for the long term in that region? Under those, and as America loses its grip on power, and power moving to the east, and the British losing their grip on power, because just last week, Norway and Spain recognized Palestine. That is significant, Oscar. So if countries are no longer are now pushing back, Western countries are pushing back against Israel, and if the centralists in Israel do not come and hold Netanyahu accountable, he's going to lose so much for that nation. So will they heed to the ICJ? No, because that ruling was made in January, and up to now they haven't even done one single.
No, the ruling was done this week.
No, the first one.
No, okay.
Remember the one where
the first one they didn't rule. They said take care.
Yes,
but this one says
care.
Immediate ceasefire.
But remember, even then, they gave them certain conditions, and they headed to nothing because they have that impunity. Remember, America is run by those 6 families. Of those 6 families, 4 are Jewish. So if you go into that, and this is the Federal Reserve that lends money to the. So when you go into that, and the history and the state, the state and the reality that is Israel's grip on America. Most Jews are Americans, even those in Israel. Even when they did the numbers of the people killed in Israel back in the Jews killed back in September.
October.
Was it? Oh yes, October.
Yes, about 1,000 something.
Yes, a good number of them were actually Americans.
Yeah. Okay.
So that history that they have and the grip that Americans have on power. But as there is a power struggle in the U.S. and as Biden slips up and down and Trump fights his battles here and there, Israel...
He may not be a good example. He said if he goes there, he will finish them.
Oh, Trump?
Yes.
He'll finish the Palestinians?
Yes. So he's pronounced himself. He needs the votes.
He needs the votes. He needs the backing. He needs the Jewish money banks.
Jude Pearl had something on X, formerly Twitter, says, I don't understand why anyone in their right mind can blame Israel for defending itself and seeking to defeat the Hamas terrorists and rescue her hostages.
You can only say that if you don't know the history of Israel, because the Palestinians themselves are fighting for their own homeland.
ICC, I forget what the word is, sanctioning, requesting, they have not yet sent out arrest warrants for Netanyahu
for Bibi and Hamas leader. 3
on each side.
Yes. I think they just wanted to balance the equation. I mean, even if you send out the arrest warrants for the Hamas leaders, where are you going to find them? But we know where Bibi Netanyahu
President Putin has an arrest warrant over him, and he didn't go to South Africa. But Bashir, when he had an arrest warrant over him, did go to South Africa, didn't he, Derek?
Yes. Yeah. Even what's his name? Bashir. Oh, you're talking about Bashir at that time.
He went to South Africa. So go on, Derek.
Like we've been even discussing about this matter. When you look at the power dynamics that are at play in the US right now, a lot of Biden is at his weakest, so to say. That you need a vote, and then you have this very strong political war you're fighting across borders and stuff. I think it's going to be even harder for the US now, but as we know US and the history they have with Israel, certainly one of the first questions when I saw the pronouncement of the Court of Justice, one of the things that crossed my mind was whether or not the pronouncement is going to be heeded to, and now he has given us quite good history and context to that. So yes, I know for sure that this is not going to be listened to. This the war is going to still certainly continue, because on one side, just like we are seeing on X and many people saying, Israel has some kind of justification to the war happening, and they always are saying they're defending themselves. But one thing I know is that this has become more, of course, a religious war, and whoever sits on whichever side of their religious beliefs is going to certainly support. For instance, we've seen our Ugandan lawyer Sebutinde supporting Israel for the move. Yeah, the judge. Yeah, supporting Israel, and it's something that doesn't come by surprise to me. I think it's swaying many, and when you see the U.S. coming very strongly, I'm very sure that many Christians, though people don't want to speak some of these things, many Christians are going to be swayed on the Israeli side, and the Palestinian side is going to be certainly supported by
the Muslim
community, the Muslim population, and it's always been seen. So it's going to be now a regional war, more of a regional war, more to the east, and of course it's going to be torn between the east and the west because of the religious beliefs there and population. But also,
I don't know. I think it's more than that. I mean, would you say the Norwegians, Spanish, and Ireland, are they in support because on religious grounds? I think there's also a matter of justice.
I think it's beyond, but it's an aspect that many people are overlooking.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an aspect many people are overlooking, but certainly there is justification to this one from whichever angle you see.
Let's go now to election season. There's a tongue-in-cheek, Nafi, one of your favorite countries, the UK. This week, the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak announced election on 4th of July. Will they manage? That's just a month away. Here, our election is in 2026.
And yet...
So you saw Kamuli.
But Oscar, you're comparing yourself to rich people.
They're not very rich these days.
You know?
But not as poor as Uganda.
No. But so, Derek, you're the reporter here. As soon as you hear NUP is going to launch in Kamuli, your instinct tells you they will not get to Kamuli. So did they get there?
I think they to Kamuli they did.
Oh, they did.
They did, but they didn't address like they had planned, because by the time they get to Kamuli, the advance team has been arrested. The tents where they were supposed to sit have been taken away and confiscated. Many grassroots leaders of NUP have been taken into custody.
Just start again. This is very interesting. So the police went to the venue.
Yes.
Removed tents, chairs, and everything.
The advance team, because it's not supposed to. That function is not supposed to happen. The advance team was arrested. I think it was arraigned in court yesterday, and they were taken back, and they will reappear. I think on Tuesday next week. It is to Palisa that he did not get where he was supposed to go yesterday, and he was cut off from Sezibwa, the bridge in Sezibwa, and there was a lot of tear gas there and stuff. But Oscar, you and me know that this is the bread that has fed Bobby Wine to where he is now. In fact, for me, I think that police has been of more advantage as to Bobby Wine's growth and popularity than the disadvantage they think they are causing to him by not addressing. Look at the journey to Kamuli. Bobby Wine combed districts of Buikwe, Jinja, combed part of Mayuge, through Buenge to Kamuli, and they were in many people walked from Jinja to Kamuli. Actually, it could have started even way
really
before. Yes,
walked to attend.
Yes, many rode their motorcycles from as far as here in I forget the name, but through you look through Mabira Forest, the bridge, then you make the turn towards Kamuli Road. All that people were walking through that, and the crowds were mammoth. And I think even if Bobby Wine is not allowed to speak in Kamuli, the things he is and the popularity and the people he's gathering and moving with from Mabira Forest through Jinja and stuff like that, it's just statement enough to reach out to as many people as possible. So there was a time where people were asking, but now why doesn't police just leave this guy? He drives through, goes, speaks to maybe 200, 300 people or maybe 700 people in Kamuli, then he comes back to Kampala, other than gathering attention of thousands and thousands of people along the way, where tear gas is being pelted, where he's standing on top of his car and chanting and even calling more people to himself and stuff. So yeah, certainly the political season is certainly with us.
Yes, Nafi on NUP and the Kamuli launch. So he has actually not spoken anywhere.
No, he hasn't. Oh. He last spoke in Masaka, where they got the crossfire with Bwanika. Now he hasn't spoken anywhere. He went to Kamuli, he didn't speak.
Oh, Bobby Wine.
Yes. He went to Kamuli, he didn't speak. Yesterday he was supposed to go to Palisa. He couldn't get there. I know that on Monday he's supposed to be in Mukono, and then from Mukono he will go to Masaka. From Masaka he's supposed to go to Mitiana. So that
presumably they do what's required. Write a letter to police. We now know that that's the only requirement.
There had been warnings before, even writing the letter, but at some point you begin to think quite deeply into even the way the law is being applied, because still Poma is being swung to his way, but we know for sure that, for instance, Dr. Kizza Besigye is moving around the country very uninterrupted. I know that I think Jeno Muhoozi had a gathering he was addressing in Masaka, I think on Wednesday or Thursday. Yesterday, President Museveni had the gathering.
As PLU?
Yes, as PLU. Yesterday, President Museveni had a gathering, and then you are thinking, then for Bobi Wine, he's being told that you are not supposed to address these political gatherings because you have not sought permission. And the law says, and again, this is something that has been even contested in courts of law, where POMA, the Public Order Management Act, says you are supposed to notify. The law talks about notification. Notification such that police gives you security. Police comes to the venue and manages the crowds.
Who beats up your crowd to discourage?
Now that's a discussion for another day. But for me, it's about notification, not seeking permission. Now, police has turned the whole lingua that is used in the law to seeking permission. It's not, the law doesn't speak about seeking permission. The law talks about informing and notifying the police. And I think that is Section 8. Some of the sections in POMA have been contested. But yeah, that's where matters are as of now.
Okay, Namfi. As expected, you say. This is this as expected?
This is business as usual. By now, after so many years, I doubt any Ugandan is surprised at the events and what's happening. In a way, I actually suspect that you may find that NUP is not as disgruntled at the harassment as they should be, simply because it garners them more access to the media, and all this you can see it playing out in on social media. You can see it playing out in the newspapers. So it gets them a certain political mileage, gets them certain coverage. So I don't think they should be. If they're disgruntled, they shouldn't be as disgruntled. But Oscar, for me, the biggest problem is that then it just kills democracy when they do this. But we expect police to do this. And last week we saw the changes in police, in the police force. Those changes, of course, do not come. They are intentional. They are people they've put there for a certain purpose, and I'm sure the president has briefed them on what to be expected during this period. So nobody is surprised, and I think NUP, as they plan these visits to Kamuli, to Palisa, and all over the country, they should have a plan for police acting like this. It would be very naive of them not to have a plan, because as we get closer to 2026, in 2025, we are going to have more violent clashes with the police. And trust me, this government, NRM, is not afraid to kill anybody who stands in the way of their grip on power. So NUP should...
NRM will say they are not the managers, it's police.
Yeah, police is NRM, and they are fooling nobody. But Oscar, I think NUP should concentrate more on the areas that they did not reach in the last campaigns. Because whereas, for example, the North and the East, whereas I don't believe that in those areas NRM won outright, as they claim, it was easier for NRM to rig in those areas because of the lack of the absence of vigilantes, NUP vigilantes. For example, where I come from in Nyenga, where I voted from, because NUP had reached there and people knew what was at stake, the vote was very, very aggressively guarded, that even these NRM cheats could not cheat. So in the east and the north, it was easier for the NRM to cheat. I really don't believe, maybe in some pockets in western Uganda, I don't believe NRM won anywhere, and maybe Karamoja. And those ones, it's Stockholm syndrome, honestly, at this point. But
the NRM people will tell you that when you win, NU people, when you win your vote, then it is okay. When NRM wins, then it is cheating.
Yeah, because they have the state machinery, so that's not rocket science. You have the state machinery. Chances are, you will cheat much easier because even the ballot papers are come from your home to the ballot. I
would say unsubstantiated. Listen, there's Rubongoya, who is a big boss in NUP. Says,
yes.
Let me first welcome Honorable Ssekikubo, Theodore Ssekikubo. We've really missed you on gang. You're most welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you, Samaya, and for inviting me here. And I also salute the gangsters.
Yeah, I like the shirt. I hope you declared it with declaration places, because it certainly
looks expensive.
It does cost more than 100,000. It's a very smart shirt.
No. But I've always been like this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Nafi, listen, and Derek, listen. It says, David Louis Rubongoya, he's a big shot in the NUP. Is he the Vice President? Secretary General, sorry?
Secretary General, yeah.
Yes. Yesterday, after blocking our engagement in Palisa, we received a letter from police responding to our protest letter and inviting us for a meeting on Monday. They raised various issues, some of which we agree with and some of which we don't. We agree with the following. Notify police about the venue, program, and time of each event. Provide evidence of permission from venue owners. Indicate security and public health measures. Liaise with respective RPCs and DPCs. They say they agree with all those. They do not agree with do not hold rallies and processions. Only hold town hall meetings in enclosed venues. They disagree with that and say others have been allowed to go ahead. Indicate number of guests. They say it is impossible to do that. Then they say we hope that the police has invited them to a meeting on Monday, and they have agreed to go. So is that a good thing, Derek?
Oscar,
they say here we hope that on Monday the police leadership, if they are genuine, will be able to make sense of these issues, so we proceed with our activities in harmony.
Oscar, this is not the first time police is inviting NUP for meetings, or it's not even the first time NUP is seeking audience with the police. What I know about the fact with police is they will call NUP for that meeting, and certainly NUP will be very eager to go for that meeting, and they will talk about some of those things, but it's not going to stop the police from doing whatever they have been doing, because it is not rocket science for us to know that there is certainly a deliberate move to stop the NUP from whatever they are doing, consulting the people, and we know the disruption that NUP causes in most of the places they go in terms of halting business going to a standstill in some of those places that they go. But I also know that police has allowed Bobi Wine to move around the country freely. In the first phase, he moved to many of the districts that he had planned to move, and then this is the second phase that was contested. And part of the argument with that from police is that there was a lot of disruption, there was a lot of cause of death. Some people died. That's what police says. I don't remember we reported anyone dying because of a stampede or because of I don't remember reporting anything like that. But this meeting for me works for the NUP, because they need it, and they needed it even.
BMK Gift, one of our favorite listeners, is not happy with you saying police is campaigning for NUP. Says, but Derek, do you think these people enjoy being beaten?
No. I will clarify that. I think it is not the intention of campaigning, but what I'm saying is, in so doing, you are popularizing NUP more than they should. Like Namfuka here said, first NUP gets that media coverage that probably they wouldn't have gotten.
But can I interject also?
Yeah.
Just because you get a compensation of $2 million from an accident that severs your legs doesn't mean it's your advantage.
No, for me, I think if there are no deaths and stuff like that, I still feel we are here because of what police has done to NUP.
Okay. Just
for instance, let me give you an
finish
example.
Off that quickly.
Going to Kamuli, NTV deployed their best reporters. Daily Monitor deployed people from Kampala to go and just cover that. And I think NBS did the same, and most media houses, because it is something that is newsworthy. It's something that attracts a lot of attention of the whole country. And that doing, Bobi Wine passes his message through. He passes his message through. But if he is left to just sail through, almost people will not even know. For instance,
he may not make the news.
For instance, like I said, Besigye has been moving across the country. Yesterday he was in my hometown in Busia. And yes, he was covered, but the kind of attention that he garnered is not as much as Bobi Wine just being blocked from
he's like campaigning without giving a speech.
You get.
But I wanted you to go to Busia because Honorable Semuju sent me an apology today, but he sent me photographs of Busia, of his campaign, of their consultations is what they call them. Previously in Busia, they were not allowed to, because they've been there before and they were not allowed to say anything. And it looks like yesterday he was allowed to say. So
Semuju is still in FDC?
Semuju is with Kizza Besigye.
Yes, he's FDC.
So whether Kizza Besigye is part of FDC or not, Semuju is just with Kizza Besigye.
I thought the time I was away, he saw light.
No, he's Katonga. But the thing is, so now they've allowed FDC Katonga to go ahead because they were in Masaka. Yesterday they were in Busia. So is that now, are they saying you FDC go ahead, the threat is with NUP? And when I say they, I'm meaning police, not like Namfuka.
Namfuka is saying the NRM.
Honorable Ssekikubo is the NRM today.
He's in a yellowish shirt. Mustard.
Almost yellow.
Almost yellow.
Which is okay. So, Dr. Kizza Besigye has been moving around the country. He combed the entire western region. I think last month or the other month, he had been in Kabale. He went to.
Actually, they were not in Busia. They were in Kitgum. Kitgum battling police. This was 5th May. Go on.
Yes. So you certainly are looking at police maybe downplaying or overlooking some of the activities that Dr. Kizza Besigye is doing, and I know that he is in consultation because he wants to form a political party, and by virtue of him being allowed to continue, you want to think that, well, maybe they are not seeing any threat from him, and they again also
not maybe they are not.
Yeah, so maybe they are not looking at him as a threat per se, and looking at Bobi Wine as a very big threat when he combs the country and causes all that kind of upside down situation. So yes, Dr. Kizza Besigye will move around, and I don't think Bobi Wine will be allowed to. Yeah.
Okay, we come over to you, Honorable Theodore Ssekikubo. You're most welcome to Gang. We have really missed you. And Lydia comes in and commends you for your smart chat. But what are your comments on this election season? It seems like we are on. I started with a bit of a tongue-in-cheek. The UK Prime Minister announced this week that they'll have their elections on the 4th of July. So 4th of July is just over a month. And I was wondering, will they manage? For us, ours is 2026 and tear gas is already happening.
Yes. You see, when you compare our situation, you find it pales in terms of democratic credentials. And you wonder why. Because after the last general election of 2021, everybody knew we were proceeding and progressing towards 2026. So the sad occurrences then ought not to be repeated now. Because we saw it coming. We knew it was going to come again. So I think it isn't the best to always pride in this tear gas phenomenon that we are seeing. And I was wondering, because the opposition thought it was a Kaihura project. They always bash Kaihura.
Talk about it, yes.
Kaihura, tear gas, Kaihura. They thought that probably...
But now there's not even a substantive IGP, not in office yet.
Yes.
But the tear gas is available.
And as I was saying then, that it is the machinery behind this. Kaihura happened to be a player. But where we are now, I don't agree with the way things are moving. Because we are setting a very, very bad situation that is going to keep on mounting throughout 2024, and you can be sure 2025 will be worse as we go to 2026. So I think the best advice
is it a good moment to remind you that you're in the NRM party?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And that's how I've been. So to me, I think the important thing now is to de-escalate. Let there be consultations. And to me, I feel boxed into a corner when other players are allowed leeway to consult, are allowed leeway to have processions in cities and towns, and one party is being stopped, one member is being stopped. To me, even if I'm to win the race, I want to win honorably, without the insinuation that, you know, they fear so and so, therefore the state machinery is set against him. And to me, we are giving, I want to agree with with Derek really on this one. I want to agree with him, is that once you overreact, you are causing such big news. The media houses will focus there, and as a result, you are creating a hero. Why don't you allow the man to consult, to go about his business
and beat him fair and square?
Fair.
Never beat him fair and square.
Pardon?
This is.
You don't know, but give him a chance. He doesn't have a machinery of the big party. So
I'm playing devil's advocate here.
This is what I'm saying. That to me, we are the ones responsible for the mess, and we as a party in power, it is due upon us to ensure that Ugandans are delivered to a peaceful election exercise.
Do you know you've been in, I remember many years ago after an election, I interviewed you when I was still doing television, and you've been in those very same wars of battles, of pre-primaries and all. Has it improved in your own party?
I hope my own party now is a bit, has moved from that dark chapter
of pre-primary fights.
Yes, because it used to be.
I have Lydia in the studio as well, but even her pre-primaries were
it used to be,
were not easy.
Yes. Our elections in the party could be handled ad hocingly. Because just a few months to the primaries, then electoral commission would be formed, and then members would be selected, and they start from nowhere. But now at least we have had an electoral commission in place
for a while,
with the register for a while now, and I hope they will not be taken by surprise.
And your party has been ahead by having local committees in villages and registering voters, members. Has it happened in your area?
No, we succeeded at the register. We succeeded at the register, but as for the local council elections, we didn't do that. We hope we still find time to do that. But let me tell you, the strength of NRM has not been even in the party structures. The strength of NRM has been for the coalition of the willing.
Yeah.
New members who are here in the party. This is the direction we want to take. And it has been popular with the population. That's how we managed to pull it off. But I think now, as we move on in party formation, we need to strengthen our structures. There is no way we can run away from that. We are going to make 40 years in power. If a party has been in power for 40 years, certainly it should have a strong base in its structures.
Let's start with your own constituency. Is the village committee, does it exist? Has it registered people? Are you happy with that registration?
You see,
remember, we are coming, as you said, you have a register. Without going into the history, when the register used to belong to one person.
Yes.
But now it is there?
We have the register. But I hasten to add that what has so far put together us in NRM is the notion that everyone in the village belongs to NRM. So you have to run it. You have to run it very, in a clear way. Because if you say the party would belong to only this village committee and these are the only ones who want in a party,
I hear
you lose on that mass party picture that we've been boasting of. To me, in my area, everybody
is NRM.
In
fact, the fights have always been NRM. When you have Shatsi versus her uncle Toyota, then Ssekikubo versus whoever, you've had a few fights, but it's all within NRM.
It has always, by and large,
been NRM. Okay. Honorable Anyoto, welcome to Gang. Very smart as well in your Busuti. For you, the village committees, have they done their work? Are you satisfied? And Honorable Ssekikubo, remember, I keep reminding Lydia when she's on Gang that she's a big honcho in the NRM party. She's one of your big bosses in the party.
First of all, I must agree with you that Honorable Ssekikubo is very smart. And I want to request Nafi or yourself take a picture. Beat a picture with me so that it is historical with the Honorable Ssekikubo. Honorable Ssekikubo is my voter in the party because I am voted by the whole country. So people from Remiaga, Zimbabwe vote for me. And also his radio in the neighborhood in Mubende, I run programs on it. So he's a very useful leader of the party. The NRM party has started a process to update but also register new members of the party. The first phase was done.
New members?
Yes.
You have new members that wish to join NRM?
Yes, many.
Okay.
Many. Actually, they are.
You sound surprised.
There are very many.
No, Honorable Ssekikubo has said this is like a whole village. You said the village is NRM. So you don't go around saying new members. So.
No, we have new members. We have new members who have joined the party. Those who have come of age, yes, but also those who have joined us. Not you only celebrate Mao. You know, this Gomas Mao's introduction is today. But you don't not only get people joining government or joining the party at national level, but even on the village. They live with they live other parties.
You threw in a word there that so you're saying Mao joined the NRM?
He's working with the NRM government. What do you mean? Don't live in pretense. Ssekikubo has just told you that we are living a mass party story, a narrative. So if you see people joining us, do they join us by half? They are fully with us. If we are the ruling party and you've come to serve as a minister, what are you saying?
I don't think Mao has refuted it as well. So
let me make my story of mass party. So NRM has a bus that has no doors, so it is open. And I just wanted to give an update as to add on what Honorable Ssekikubo has said. We began the process to update because the register has members. On the village, the custodian of the NRM register on the village is the NRM chairman. But the one who has been going around to register is what we call a registrar. So that book is on the village. It's called the Yellow Book. It's on the village. And what has happened in the first phase was to update and clean the old register. You know, people die, people shift. I come from a city, Mbale city. So we have a lot of settlement issues. Today you are in this village, the other day because we are in the town, we keep shifting. So we are trying to update who is here. For us in the city, we are receiving new members because the state has mobile settlement, and we are removing those who left to other places, or those who died. But now, Honorable Ssekikubo, this quiet you see since we registered is we are putting the register into digital. Because when it came to the village, it was in the yellow book. So at regional zones level, we are now entering into digital, so that by the press of your button in your office, either in Remiaga or in Kampala,
you can see who's on the register.
You can be able to see who's on the register.
Tongue-in-cheek question.
So let me finish on the register just a second. After that, it will come back to the village. For the, when we are registering the first children were in school, but you have people in these tertiary institutions, universities, these ones who are doing skills institutions. They will now, we shall find a space during the holiday time for them to come and join, but also for you to see the display, whether what's in the computer is also what's on the yellow book. So that's the story of the NRM. When we are done, that's when we shall run structures and also elect national leaders, including SEC. Thank you.
I have two questions for you. And as I said, the first one is a little bit tongue-in-cheek. So your opponent stood as an independent. Is she now going to register as NRM as you update all these things? Oh, that's her business.
There's a process, but she's free. Now she has to go to her village where she stays and votes from. There's what they call a village baraza, which Ssekikubo actually is referring to, that everybody is free to be. So we have a village baraza. She can now go and say, yes, I'm independent, but I'm in my party, I'm rejoining my party. Because automatically when you become independent, you assume to have left the party. But there's the legal and the politics.
Yeah.
So legally, she's actually free to join the party. To go and check her name, it could have even still be there, because nobody really bothers whether you have joined or not. It's the heat of the politics that changes things, but your membership stands. Legally, you go back to the village baraza, you pronounce that you are back to your people, forget about the independence things. The community now, the village now receives you back, and you update. And I think if she's still interested, she should have gone to her village.
The window is still open.
Without any doubt, if I still have the breath, I'm a candidate from Bale City, Woman MP.
But the window opens when? Like January 2025, when someone can pronounce themselves in another party?
No, Ssekikubo, is it 1 year or 6 months?
It's 1 year.
But it's more prominent in parliamentary.
Yeah,
but we have councillors, we have all these other people.
They go where they wish.
They go where they wish. But I think it's more pronounced for the parliamentary seat to join a party legally, to say now I'm joining this party or independent. So that the issue is not so much about your allegiance of work, but it's about whether or not you lose your seat.
It's like what Hon Ssekikubo said, that
because in the past you lose, they say you've crossed, so you lose your seat. So that's why Semuju has told us
he'll wait for January.
He will wait because he wants his seat, and he still believes that maybe 60% of his or 70% of his victory was not so much that he was a party member.
Yeah.
He believes that him as Semuju.
Lydia, finally closing out on this.
So which one was in the cheek?
That one is that one.
Okay.
You've answered very well.
So thank you. No, I'm a good answer.
You did. I don't know about the word answer, but yes.
Yes.
Let me ask her the same question I asked you.
Yes.
But now on these matters, NUP, what's your opinion? Should they let them campaign and you beat them fair and square?
I've been asking the same questions because you see, for us, we didn't run the barazas. We just sent out because we have an elaborate structure and channel of communication. We just sent out emails, and because we have offices in every district in Uganda, and then leadership up the village. So we just said the books are coming. Those who need new ones, those who have old ones, dust them when you're renewing, and we gave them a week. Now for our sister political parties, they seem to be running barazas, town hall, and then I hear, but most of them are even DP. I saw a presser on DP. They are writing. They are members, and UPC is there. And then I also saw, I think ANT started, and definitely the different factions of FDC. I shouldn't be calling them factions. I should say FDC members are also out in the field. So I do not understand why NUP has issues. Because they are a political party, maybe you should call here NUP and also police, so that we listen and make an opinion, because I've not understood where the issue is.
Well, we've seen from the Secretary General that
no, the news, that's another story. Let's get the actual people.
I agree with
Let NOOP come and police, and we tell them, DPs in the field, UPCs in the field, why are you not allowing NOOP?
Oscar, NOOP has been all over the news telling us what the problem is. Police has been all over the news telling us where the problem is.
The debate should come here.
There is nobody who needs, we don't need a debate on this.
No, we want them on the same table.
I read the Rungoya's tweet, and Lydia, for information, he says that they will go to police on Monday and have that meeting. So we hope for the best for them.
And even Senyonyi has been giving us updates on what exactly is happening and why it's happening.
Gideon Kwikiriza says he's president of Ugandans on X, and Gang should give him credit for pointing that out. Then we have Rotarians in Singapore. They say, thanks to the conducive environment ushered in by the NRM, we are listening to Gang from Singapore. We stop for a quick break, and after the break, we'll go to Honorable Ssekikubo and his censure motion. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital Gang. We move on to our next topic, and a champion of a censorship in Parliament. And in the break, Namfi reminded us that Minister Namuganza is still a minister anyway. Bearing that in mind, Honorable Ssekikubo, what's your petition about?
No,
we start with the what?
Thank you. The petition that we launched this week is for the removal of the 4 backbench commissioners whom, when this information came out, it came out in the public domain, in the media, about the members of the Parliamentary Commission sitting in a meeting wherein they decided to share amongst themselves 1.7 billion shillings without the due process, without any authorization from Parliament. Number 2, first of all, we feel that was wrong. It is self and personal aggrandizement. We find it wrong. It is theft of public funds, because there are procedures under which monies can be appropriated and therefore given to individuals. And it came under the tag of service award. The service award, usually where it happens, it isn't really in monetary terms. But here, before you even conclude your service, you are just beginning your service as a commissioner, and you are paid in advance as a service award. And this one offends the laws of the land, the code of conduct. You remember, you sit in that meeting and you have personal interest, and you award yourself, and you are well aware that this is against the law and the code of conduct for you to sit and deliberate on a matter where you have vested interests, where you have financial interest, and you don't declare, and you go where you're seated in. So when it came to light, we sought to have audience on the floor of Parliament. We sought the Speaker's indulgence, because the Speaker, she's our boss at Parliament. She has wide-ranging powers. Wide-ranging powers. She can accommodate any issue once you raise it. And usually, at that point, you may even seek for her guidance. Madam Speaker, we have this matter. We seriously think it should be debated, it should be brought on the floor of Parliament. And that opportunity was never allowed. And let me tell you, this was not, when it came to public domain, it was no longer a matter for the 4 commissioners. It was an indictment on the institution of Parliament, because Parliament is the pinnacle of accountability and transparency. We hold all government ministries, departments, and agencies to account for the monies disbursed to them. But how come that when it comes now to Parliament, we shy away from accountability? And we say it was wrong. Number two, it lowered our moral standing in society. Parliament should be the last place to have shady deals. Parliament. So when we invite all these others and we do not have the moral standing anymore, there is a problem. And lastly, when the four are being put to task by this Parliament, in a way, members of Parliament shall have the opportunity to show to the world that yes, collectively we all look bad. Collectively we all look bad, but we need to exercise ourselves to say that those who are culpable should bear their own cross, not all of us. And that's where we stand.
Ssekikubo,
yes.
Are you aware that people might think you are getting back at the Speaker, because you had a chance to put to her to clear the air, and she told you, we have that in video, that she does not respond to rumor. So this time, how will she receive this petition?
No, but how am I getting back at her? Because I stood on the floor of Parliament. I requested for that opportunity. And by that time, we had the medium-term expenditure framework papers. Then, when I raised, he said, now you see, we have ministerial policy statements which have to be laid, and we are racing against time. But after this, we shall have opportunity and space to debate the same. And after that, then another excuse, look, we are now entering the appropriation stage. But wait, and suddenly, after all those, the Speaker prorogued Parliament without allowing us any space to have these matters debated. Parliament should be the last place to evade or block debate, because we are there to talk, we are there to debate. If issues arise, let's talk about them. Let's have them, let's discuss them. But lastly, I don't think I could be up against the Speaker, because after all, this motion is very, very clear. It is talking about the conduct
Commissioners.
of commissioners.
The NUP has been there before you, trying to replace their own commissioner, the former leader of opposition, which has led to a big fallout. And they failed in that. So what makes you think that you will succeed?
No. In our case, as I said, that the Speaker has far and wide-ranging powers. You seek her indulgence, but if that fails, you use another vehicle. Another vehicle is to go through the rules, and the rules provide you with the matter how you can proceed, whether with or without the Speaker's blessings.
The rules have shown that you cannot sack a parliamentary commissioner.
No, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
The rules provide you with a vehicle through a notice of motion. You notify her. And once you've gotten the qualifications for you to sustain your motion, that is, if you've gotten the minimum of 177, and you file that notice and it's lodged, from that time onwards, it is self-executing. Timelines start counting, because that matter has to be placed on the order paper, and the rules provide that that item takes precedence over other business on the order paper. So whether she's liking it or not, it is the only and available avenue that we have to take. And I think it is also good for the Speaker in a way, because it would clear the image of Parliament. I don't think that the Speaker would love to preside over an institution that is castigated.
Okay.
So we have suffered enough. We have the sanctions on our right honorable Speaker, but I think we shouldn't pile it up more than that. That should be enough. But then there should be some avenue to show the difference. That yes, we've had our ups and downs, but I think as Parliament must uphold the Constitution, the laws of the country, the integrity, accountability, and transparency. Those are the hallmarks of the institution called Parliament.
Yeah.
And
so how far is your petition? You've written the petition filed a petition and you're seeking...
No, we're not yet filed.
Okay.
We need to qualify it. And the qualification we are now, which we set out to do, was to collect the signatures. I'm only a mover. And don't take it that I'm the one carrying the institution of parliament on my shoulders or the country on my shoulders. No. I happen to be a mover. And I think members of parliament should see sense in that. If they don't, to me, I would have...
You have a
part.
campaign manager, Honorable Pendy.
No, Honorable Pendy is also one of the seconders and many others. We've gotten members who have appended their signatures. They agree with us. They don't agree with the current state of affairs at Parliament. And I think we need to have a difference at Parliament. Number two, I'm happy with the general public. Those members who were ambivalent have been called by their voters to say, but we've not seen you. Where are you? Where do you stand on this matter of accountability? So even the general public, I'm surprised that the way the social media, the modern day information and communication networks, people down there in the villages. Yesterday we had 4 members of parliament driving from their constituencies specifically to come to our table. The table where we are collecting signatures from, coming onto the table to append their signatures and to tell the country that I've come to be part of this effort that promotes accountability and transparency, and in full view of cameras, so that their people can know that yes, our member did it. And now it is becoming a question of where you stand. Each individual MP must show where they stand on this point of transparency and accountability. However small the steps are, but we must start on it.
Derek, pardon? You want to come in before?
To ask Honorable Ssekikubo something. So, tell us, what happens when they are censured? What happens when it's found that there was wrongdoing on their part? From the minutes of the meeting, we can see that it was chaired by certain people. They are not being censured.
You like to be ahead. Even me, I can answer that one. The man is moving a petition.
He's moving a petition, but I want to know, because we've seen petitions in Parliament. He doesn't have judicial power like a judge who then says 5 years in jail. Maybe he can guide us as the public. So the censorship, then what? Because do we get our money back?
Well, I hadn't seen where you're going. But I'm saying for their movement is to move them from the commission. Then now you could start the one. You could start the one for refund money.
Yes, the gist of this petition, first of all, is to have the matter brought onto the order paper and debated, where even those accused can have
a chance
to have their side. Even now, they have it. Now, once we go through the full debate, members of parliament will resolve, and I cannot foresee what kind of resolutions will arise, but they will arise out of the debate on the floor.
Okay.
And will be out of those resolutions. Resolutions are decisions. How parliament will arrive at its decisions, I don't know, because we are still now interested in having the matter debated. And to me, I will die if parliament is stopped from debating.
That's what I want to ask
matters.
Derek.
Yes.
Derek, you're the reporter with history. Let's come round. Is Ssekikubo's petition dead on arrival?
I think for all intentions and purposes,
just go to your microphone a little bit.
Yeah. For all intentions and purposes, I really applaud the Honorable Ssekikubo on that motion. One day there was a press conference, and I was asking Bobby Wine that you have recalled as a party your commissioner from the position of commissioner in Parliament, but you have MPs within Parliament, and just the party, by merely calling a commissioner, might not necessarily amount to what you exactly want, unless he comes out and says, I'm stepping down. And we've seen in full glare of everything that he can't do that. You have MPs within Parliament. Why aren't they passing a motion that that the Honorable Ssekikubo has, for instance, done. And one of the answers was, we are very sure that if this came from the NUP, it would be dead on arrival. The question you're asking me. It is hopeful for some of us who feel this was evil, that this is coming from NRM and NRM MP, because then you are very sure of numbers when you have all the numbers, or majority of the people within NRM whom I covering Parliament. I know for sure that the three MPs, the Honorable Silwanyi, Afoyo-Chan, and the other, are black sheep, so to say. They are not so much liked. So when it's coming from the Honorable Ssekikubo from NRM, there's some flicker of hope, and as the general public, we are just waiting to see how it ends up. But surely, if this was coming from an opposition party, we would be very scared that certainly they're not going to make it in terms of numbers, because you have about only 100 or so, 102 MPs from the opposition. But now I've seen that many MPs who subscribe to the notion of LPU have joined the Honorable Ssekikubo. PLU. Sorry, it is very easy. It is very easy to forget it because it's new. PLU have already sided with the Honorable Ssekikubo. I saw him in Parliament the other day. He was moving with the Honorable David Kabanda, who is, I think, the Secretary General of PLU. I have also seen that the leader of PLU made a tweet, I think last week, and he was condemning. He was condemning corruption in Parliament. I am very sure that the MPs who are on the LPU understanding will certainly join the Honorable Ssekikubo. There are very many MPs who are going to join Honorable Ssekikubo from within the NRM, especially when they are sober and they want to cleanse the name of Parliament. But I am also sure that all the MPs on the opposition should, and I'm very sure that they will join the Honorable Ssekikubo. And I'm shocked he hasn't made the number of signatures. I don't know how many signatures he has now, but it's really a worthwhile move. One thing that we then should worry about is whether the Speaker of Parliament is going to preside over this matter, because I know he presided over the meeting that distributed this money, but the demeanor of the Speaker right now has changed, and you see that she's going to allow this to happen, and we hope that she does. She has made a statement on some of the matters that happened in Makerere about the exam, and I am very sure the public was shocked about the. You
said free speech is allowed.
Yes, free speech is allowed, and I know that she's going to allow this to happen. And Honorable Ssekikubo's motion is certainly going to be is certainly hope. There is hope.
So Nafi, expanding this a little bit, what happens to Honorable Mpuga, who firstly, for him, is the only one who said he chewed the money. First he said he hadn't received, then the news came out saying he got it, then he said he was justified to get. So what happens? Because
Oscar, honestly,
and he didn't regret.
Looking at Mpuga this week, I saw a man.
So the question to you was what?
Return.
Before your observations of him, what?
Before what you saw and where you saw from.
Excuse me, I'm not sure. Before your observations of him, well, what? Because he's like, Nafi, you may not be aware. He's been supported by some members of NRM when OO was here and others. They were gunning for Mpuga. Now,
and I want him being supported by NRM members is a red flag.
And now the censure is coming from NRM. So what happens to this poor man?
Honorable Ssekikubo has been a rogue MP for a while, from time to time, when the cause called for it within Sereko. So it's not surprising the angle from which this comes from. Am I as optimistic as...
For once you're talking about a rogue who is here, he can respond.
Yes.
So
yes.
this time round, go
he
ahead.
Has. You remember the rebel MPs?
Yeah.
He was a rebel MP.
Okay.
So he is from time to time. And now they have this league of patriotism that is running around with Muhoozi with an agenda that we can discuss in another show. But for now, we go back to his campaign, which I commend in theory, but in practical sense...
Very rare of you to commend an NRM action. So
yes,
that's a good point.
I commend, but I remain cynical whether anything will come out of this. I mean, Parliament debated on the floor about the NSSF and the money they had allocated to themselves and the former board members, and we got a report, we got recommendations, the minister had to go, money had to be returned, but up to now, nobody has done that. And like I pointed out during the break, Namuganza was censured. Nothing has happened to that. We had a whole cabinet reshuffle where she returned. Mabati thieves are still roaming around, and it takes another country, the UK, to at least try to bring them to board. Even those who went to court, doesn't look like much is going to be done to them. So these gimmicky procedures that go nowhere honestly no longer impress the public much. And when Honorable Ssekikubo talks about cleaning up the image of the public, I snicker a bit. I mean, Parliament the current Parliament as is still going to remain on the wrong side of the tracks. I don't think the public as is has any hope in Parliament. We don't look to them as our savior. Once in a while we are forced to, the way you would look at your abusive father to save you from a lion, but they remain an abusive father. But overall, I don't think we look at Parliament as our beacon of hope for many reasons. I mean, we can sit here and judge these four for taking money. I mean, Mpuga was 9 months into this, and he's awarding himself for service rendered. And you haven't even been a year in a position. And then I haven't heard him talk about the award they're giving the Auditor General under the similar manner. Are we going to also deal with that? Even if he's retiring, under the law, is it proper? He had a salary. For all these years, he was well paid.
He has a pension as well.
He has other ways he's been remunerated. Why are we giving him more money from a very impoverished country? So for me,
but
when
you
you try to deal with a small,
do you agree with him that there's some due process coming up, that people will have a chance to oppose it?
If there's a due process where under the law where people have a chance to oppose it,
like
then all is well.
Parliament has a chance.
My fear is at the end of the day, once Parliament is compromised, they will let anything pass, or they won't make the numbers, and you'll find all these ridiculous laws or processes going through, because they didn't even bother making the numbers. Like I said before, we as a public, and I speak for quite a number of people, we don't look at Parliament as our beacon of hope or as our solution to the problems that we have now, because the Parliament itself, first and foremost, is amorphous. There are way too many. Number two, the allowances they give themselves, which are not even taxed. Number three, the laws that they allow to pass that are pushing against Omuntu wa wansi. And then later, for example, when the traders are rioting, Parliament comes in to be shocked that the traders, and then when the traders were speaking out, which parliamentarians were even there to speak on their behalf? So when we look at Parliament, we look at it as part of the problem, not a solution. And I'm not even surprised that these people would sit and give themselves money, because a typical parliamentarian these days is a failed businessman or a person whose career has failed. Now they're looking to earn something somewhere. So when they get an opportunity to loot something without even
earning
a
parliamentarian in the studio.
A typical, yes. No, I'm saying, so he may be out of the, may be unique. So what I'm saying is, most of these people, even when they leave their positions in Parliament, most of them have nothing to do, have no jobs to go back to, have no businesses to go back to. So what do? The moment they're in Parliament, they are looking from COSASE to parliamentary committees they're looking to make quick bucks. So you will see these commissioners who are doing the same thing any other parliamentarians could do. is going to do in the same position. If they have access to free 500 million shillings, they're going to take it. Of course, I was very disappointed because I held Mpuga on a certain, not pedestal, but I thought it was better than the speaker, say for example, who is the poster child of corruption as we speak right now. But look at where we ended up, and this is a person of opposition who we hold at a higher standard, because remember, opposition MPs have not been pushed upon us by the state machinery. Most of them actually get these positions on merit, as in the population actually votes for them and wants them in those positions. So when you see one of them also do this, then it feeds into the narrative that people have that all parliamentarians, opposition and non-opposition, are compromised and are just there to feed their stomachs. So, Honorable Ssekikubo, it's going to be a long climb for you to try and clean up the image of Parliament. And I will tell you, not in the NRM's lifetime. I don't think as we speak, with a Parliament majority as NRM, an NRM that after 40 years cannot even do the road in this road, Oscar, that I'm always complaining about.
You name any, because I've come through Kamocha. I thought I would not come Mawanda Road, so I came behind Kamocha. All the cars are like on a dance or something.
Yeah, but there is that one which is so bad from Makinde to Munyonyo.
Yeah.
Salama Road.
Heavily populated.
And you should see the number of population who come from there. And yet we think we can give 1.7 billion to a handful of people to thank them for service rendered as being commissioners. But this is before they even serve. Or some have served for 9 months. But this is business as usual for most of the leaders in an NRM today. And I think their motto is, yes, and I think one of the things we need to deal with is that whole dynamic. In Luganda, we say a monkey sitting in matters of forests. Most of these awards and allowances and monies given to Parliament by Parliament, because, for example, the Speaker and Deputy Speaker have a budget of over 216 million for their clothes. Who decided that? The Speaker themselves at some point.
For now, let's continue
we
with
have
the service award.
These service awards we have, when we are dealing with them, and we are just targeting these 4 people for this moment, and the chances of even them leaving these positions are very slim. I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Okay. But you're not saying Ssekikubo will give up?
No, he shouldn't. I mean, we need to do something, but to tell you the truth, I'm not very optimistic. Let's
go to Lydia here. Lydia, again, using Uganda, one word only. This, do you think Honorable Mpuga is isolated? We have had him severally here on Gang, a very reasonable man, lawyer. But has he, in Uganda, the word is kanyewa. Did he eat kanyewa?
I don't know whether it is kanyewa. I've said on this Gang before, and I think I had to be high praise, because I was like, in Uganda today...
Listen, there's a message here on X. People are listening to and posting. Oscar's reaction when Nafi called Among what she called him, he said, now. So...
So, Oscar...
Nafi, your microphone is firmly switched off.
Oscar, before I answer your question, please allow me to start the way I wanted to start.
Okay.
Many times we miss a narrative of the community, or even very serious opinion. That's when we lose and begin grappling with so many one-off situations. The ED message of Prince Nachiwinge touched me so much, but I don't know if anybody remembers it. This is a very high-profiled member of the community, respected, firm, and his messages are short, but very, very important.
What did he say?
He said that if the laws in Uganda, or the rules which govern Uganda, are at variance with the needs of the people, we have to review them so that they are aligned to the situations of our country. He said it. He said it in English, and it was run on all the radios in Uganda, but I picked it. So let me begin with Honorable Ssekikubo. Honorable Ssekikubo, that my second point with you is that there must be people in Uganda who know wrong and right, whether they are laws of our country or not. I don't know whether I'm speaking to a language people understand. There must be people in our country who stand up to right or wrong, whether they are covered in law or not. Ssekikubo, does that make sense to you? And that speaks to what Prince Nachibinge said on Idi Day as his message. Why am I beginning with this? I come from Mbale City. I strongly believe that we deserve better national leaders from where I come from. I've lost an election there. And people think I'm wasting time, I can never win, but I'll go back and contest. Why? Because I believe that I'm a good leader and that one day I should not come here like Namfi, lament when I'm not doing anything about it. So I'll go back and contest. So, Ssekikubo, the 4 parliamentary commissioners, if I was one of them and the lawyer in me, I would come and sign your petition. It sounds funny, but I would come and sign your petition so that I get this matter off the table, so that I'm given an official platform to say my case. Maybe using my legal lens. Using a legal lens, those guys have no case, but they have a moral burden on their head as leaders of the country. I don't know whether I'm making sense in my submission or not. So that, because you see, I even saw the speaker visiting your desk. I saw it. It has gone viral. But you see now,
to sign?
For us to say, no, I mean, why did it have a big media show? Okay. I mean, we are leaders. That there's a story around this. But what does this mean? It means that, Ssekikubo, for me, the debate about whether or not your motion will succeed, for me, is not on the table. It's my story of the parliamentary election. Do your part and do it through the rules. You would have done your part. Let them come, you have your say, they have their say, and there is a conclusion on it. So that the country says 500, you have how many? 529 members of parliament. There was a question about how they lead the country or do the oversight, and they all went quiet because the debate of you all going quiet has been on the floor. So, for me, whether you lose, and I think those who are saying that you lose have it, there's a question you put on the floor. They say the nays have it or the ayes have it. Maybe the ayes have it already, but that does not remove the fact that a conversation has come and that has been concluded. So for me, I do not think that look at the laws. For me, I think do your part.
The NUP seemed to be saying that.
Do your part.
They knew already they could not remove their commission.
Do your part.
But they were doing their part.
Do your part, but do it diligently. Through the rules. Do not malign anybody. Let them come and make their case, and the story continues. Because the Hansard of Parliament, it is the history of our country. Ssekikubo, you're not going to be permanent in that house. One day you will end either way. Either you lose an election or you will die. But the record of the house will remain that in the 11th or in the 10th Parliament, this happened. Why do we talk about Ben Wacha? Why do we talk about Dan Ogalo? Even the late Studio Ogalo and the others? Because they made the mark. It does not mean that they won the debate, but they made a contribution. It is very, very important that when there is a matter that has come up, bring it up, debate. Do not look at a win. Problem in Uganda is we fear losing. And when you fear losing, then people take advantage of that gap. I really hope that today I've been able to say something and people would understand where I'm coming from. The moment we do not outcome fear, we are going not to make our contribution. And yet the opportunity to make a contribution, you don't have to win. If you win, it should be the exception. Say, oh, but if you do not win, a matter has been cleared on the floor of the house. And let me now speak for the speaker. Well, I'm not a spokesperson, but the rules of parliament protect the speaker. There has been so much say, powers. Yes, those powers are meant to help speak around the show of the house. But the rules of procedure she cannot run away from he cannot run away from those rules of speaker. So we should give the Right Honourable Speaker a benefit of doubt that she does respect the due process of the House, and I think there is no record in the past that she has done that. Even when you say she prolonged the House, I think, fairly speaking, we have been into a hectic budget season, Honourable Ssekikubo. But let's see how it goes after the budget session, and then you have your matter debated. Finally, Oscar, when you look at the rules of, you keep saying I'm big, and I sit here and laugh. Yes, we brought in place.
Someone has said that your time has expired.
It's not only me. It's not, the due process, I've just explained it. The whole country, the NRM has no leaders except the 6 regional chairpersons and the chairman. The rest of us, the whole country, the chairman, the whatever, the districts, nobody has a mandate. But the due process has begun. You cannot have NRM leadership structures held without a register. Ssekikubo, am I right or not?
It's true.
So you cannot jump. You must have a register, then we organize elections. But we cannot have a gap. So you have to bear with us to lead you into the election, and then we can have a register, and then elections, and then leaders. But let me talk about political parties. And that's what happened to NUP. When we went multi-party, we did not have time or intentional or deliberate effort, Ssekikubo. I'm even surprised that this debate is here today without Katuntu and Semuju. I would have loved to hear their story about the commissioners. Oscar, repeat this debate when Semuju and Katuntu is here with
Semuju sent an
Ssekikubo.
apology, stuck in Busia. He wasn't able to come back.
Okay, so yeah.
Katuntu, I am not so sure where he is.
Because it would be nice, but my point is that I'm talking about the two, even Ssekikubo here, because when we went multi-party, I'm a founding member of the NRM party with Ssekikubo. We were here when the party started. But when we began the party, I think it was rushed about people organizing parties than the law of the land, the constitution of Uganda, and the parliamentary rules. There are areas in the parliamentary rules and procedure, even the parliamentary act, which are at variance with the political party. I don't know that I'm right, Ssekikubo. So you find that where it serves the parliament, they will navigate away from the party. And where the party has the powers, even for the NRM, we went to court and Ssekikubo defeated us because there is that variance. So we need to find a way of either balancing mandates and sharing power, or even managing issues of discipline or loyalty, because people are sharp. You've had here Ssekikubo, the Semuju, FD says that they voted him to parliament, but he says no, I will only leave your flag when 1 year to elections. But I think in the heart of hearts of FDC, they would have loved him to say I've crossed and you leave, and many of them are like that. So there's an issue of political parties. So NOP could not win this. They wrote and said that Honorable Mpuga should leave the commission because they sponsored him there. But we do not have a political party mandate with the draw members of parliament because the law does not provide for it. But there is a precedent because it began in NRM. The NRM went to court with Ssekikubo, with the Wilfred Nagaba, and the Mohamed Selekoyo 4 with Tinka Simide. But they won. So the president shows that the law and parliament has more powers than the political party. So political parties legally, they are still very weak on matters of the law and parliament.
Abdu was on the show at the time, and he said that they probably won't
that's why they've called Abdu Professor, because in that matter, he was one of the lawyers for the Ssekikubos. But that has set precedent. There is no political party now, including NUP, that can remove a member of parliament, whether from the committee or from the parliament, even from Pan-African Parliament.
Lydia, what I'm putting
because I remember Professor Latigo could not leave the PAP when they wanted him to leave as FDC because the political parties are weak. They don't have the legal machinery to make them manage parliamentarians.
Nafi, before we go back to Honorable Ssekikubo,
extremely disagree with Lydia and her presentation.
On which one now?
The quote from Prince Nachivinge, I totally agree. We all have a moral compass, or should have. The rest, oh my God, why?
Even with a disagreement, you can raise your voice.
Why would you ask us to accept such a mediocre standard that we don't have to win as long as we overcome fear and come against these people? No. No, the only acceptable standard for Ugandans who elected these people is A, they stand down from being commissioners. B, they leave parliament altogether. C, they return all the money they took. Full stop. Short of that, we are unimpressed. Those mediocre standards of, someone spoke about it, they debated it, that is enough. It is not, and it will never be. The reason we are where we are, that again and again we see these scenarios, from Mabati to this, to the next person who steals money from government with impunity, is because of that standard. And we reject it. No, we can do better than that. Don't ask us to have that low standard.
I do not see any contradiction.
Unless those people resign completely, that is not the standard that we are willing to accept.
Maybe you don't understand.
So, Namfi is back.
Maybe
you didn't understand.
But
you missed
for me, your presentation,
because there has been an opening campaign to say Ssekikubo is dead on arrival. That was the point. That's where I was coming from, and I'm saying no,
he is.
He's not dead. And now you see,
he is. This is the truth. But should he continue being dead on arrival?
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, then
nothing can be done. But he's
I don't think so. That's why we are disagreeing. I don't think he's dead.
It's not even an opinion at this point. It is a fact.
Clearly, Namfi is back. and Honorable Ssekikubo, if you need a lawyer,
she started from where she had stopped.
Do you want to add on a comment before we hand the microphone back to Honorable Ssekikubo?
I do really hear Namfi, and I think the standards that he's setting are the ideal standards that we should have, but also understand where the Honorable Wanyoto is coming from, and saying even a small win in such a matter is good enough. But then whether or not those are mediocre standards.
Imagine that you cannot a petition, and people are shocked that she even has a few signatures. NBS ran some names on that, but you mean people can sign? Because that was even not expected that people can sign.
But what does that say about the House?
For me, I think
now that it can happen.
For me, I think this matter has been on the floor of Parliament, and I have seen the strength with which the Honorable Ssekikubo has tried to push, and the number of times he has stood up just to speak about it, and whether or not he wins, like the Honorable Wanyoto says, we shall say there has someone been there has been someone who has showed concern. He has showed concern. He has had his day in the field, and he has given a contribution. And it's one of the questions I was asking. Okay, we have seen all these allegations, but what are we doing about them? Are we just going to keep quiet about them? Don't we really need to pass a motion like that of censoring some of these people? Of course, I know the history of censorship in this country. I know of a minister who was censured, I think,
years ago.
No, years ago. Right now, he is in the House as a minister.
Well, he resigned that one, but there's one who didn't resign.
There's one, of course, about the Honorable Namuganza. She was censured, and she's back to the House and stuff like that. But there is a minister who was censured on corruption issues. He is in the House. He's a minister now. Let's take every step that there needs to be, like the Honorable Ssekikubo is doing. And then we lead, and then we leave some of, we forget a lot about the kind of country we are in. We are grappling to grow in terms of democracy, and democracy takes all these baby steps. If we do not go through this due process of baby steps of growth as a democracy, there are countries that have had democracies for more than centuries and centuries, but they are not yet there.
Which one?
South Africa.
Talk about America.
The other day.
Talk about America.
In fact, when I interviewed the South African embassy, he said we've had apartheid so many years. So
what I'm saying is, I hear Namfi, but I don't think we can get there just in a blink.
Honorable Ssekikubo, back to you for responses on all these discussions.
I want to thank,
the microphone needs to come to you.
I want to thank the gangsters for their contribution. I think, to me, I take it as a contribution to the ongoing debate, to enrich it. We do not have the monopoly of ideas, but these are matters where we welcome each and every addition, as long as it is in the positive direction. Number two, I happen only to be the mover. But this is not my personal motion. It is the motion of the Parliament of Uganda. And where you have Honorable Saro Pendi, where you have Honorable Odria from NRM, but also in the opposition you have Honorable Nsamba, Oshabe, you have Honorables, many others who have been part of this. Honorable Kasoro, Honorable Gonzaga, those are members of Parliament coming up to support this. So to me, we cannot all move. There has to be one mover. And I happen to be just one mover. But as for the motion, I do not have the requisite 177 signatures in my handbag, in my bag, to say that I'll put them there. These are from members of Parliament.
How many do you have so far?
So far we cannot come out on this, because I'm answering that in relation to what Madam Nafka said about she's wondering why you have not gotten the but I think it was Derek. Yes, because we started this process when Parliament has been prorogued, meaning that members are out in their constituencies and they have to come back. So I think that one, it is only the Committee of Public Accounts and with half of the members that have been able to be there, but members are coming. And number two, to that, Derek, this has largely been in the NRM. We are leaving this as a motion for the House, the 11th Parliament. But those who have been in the lead are NRM. And to me, NUP and the leadership of NUP, they are coming in here and there. But the main board of NUP has not appeared. But so far, this motion has been sustained by the NRM side, meaning that on the question of accountability and transparency, it isn't a monopoly concern of the opposition. Also, the NRM members come to Parliament ready to make the country move to another stage. And those of the 10th Parliament who lost, those who were replaced by the NRMs, they came to Parliament also convinced about the need of accountability and transparency. And to me, the senior members should have been the one in the lead. But once we have all voted to Parliament, every member is equal. You can't say because I've been there longer, therefore I'm superior or I know more about this. No. The only thing is that I have the small experience. You remember when government was entering into oil deals and agreements without having a law in place? We also went through a similar process. We had to call Parliament from recess. We forced government in our resolutions to present the laws, to present the agreements, to see where Ugandans stand on the oil agreement and the oil processing as it was. So to me, this is the time. And I want to allay the fears of
NAFCA.
NAFCA, please. This time, I've never seen a good opportunity like we have now.
Are we getting our money back?
We must go all the way it takes. And getting our money back is that we seem to be jumping the gun. In a sense that I cannot, as of now, foretell what the resolutions of Parliament.
Nafi is a lawyer. She knows these things.
Yes, she does.
When you are going to court, you know how to first file and do what
you
and
say
do
that
what.
Therefore, I need the judgment that goes this way or that way.
But before
we shall be there.
Court, I know the judgment that I would like.
Then look.
I look at the extreme of what happens if I lose, and what does the loss look like, and what would I term as success. Let's not go into Afghanistan and just move around
Nafi, the question I put to you is, so should he give up?
We'll never
so should he give up?
Come back to the reality of Parliament.
She shouldn't give up, but let's not normalize that cesspool that is Parliament.
No, cesspool? No, I think you use
it. It is now. Because you see,
I think you're taking it further.
I think so.
And Oscar, I don't think I should sit here where the member is abusing the institution where I stand, and we are all making our humble contributions.
I agree.
What contribution have you made so far? No, don't call Parliament.
You've seen even on social media people calling
that.
Parliament.
I can't stand here and you call Parliament a cesspool. It's your institution. You Ugandan.
One of the most corrupt institutions.
But Nafi,
make it better. Make it better.
That's a correct.
Make it better.
Nafi, should he give up? You're not clear, but let the man make his presentation without the disruption, and please don't call them cesspool.
I withdraw cesspool.
Thank you.
Honorable Ssekikubo, I am just saying Parliament as we speak right now in Uganda is part of the problem.
No,
but
lowering the bar of the standards of a parliamentarian
the
and the standards they should aspire to is wrong on our part. Should you continue your fight? Absolutely. Because any fight at this
the
point
question on the floor is a censorship. Don't mix things.
And I'm asking that
No, but the question is censorship. Honorable Ssekikubo, continue with censorship.
What I know is that Nancy, as counsel, as a lawyer, he knows
processes.
As a member of parliament, you can't even debate in anticipation. Let's have those matters on the floor of parliament, and as a lawyer, you must defend the right of those even being accused, the right to defend themselves. It will be an outcome. It's not that they're already condemned. Sitting here, you're not saying that they're already condemned as charged and as adjudged. No, what we are saying is that let the due process take place. And to us, where we started from, we wanted to have these matters debated on the floor of parliament. Debated, not swept under the carpet. And once we are there, then all these options, the kind of resolutions shall come up and we shall examine them soberly. But lastly, I'm happy that parliament, I'm not parliament myself, but I'm talking of members of parliament. All shades of opinion in parliament and all groupings. If you saw yesterday, we have UPC members signed, some DP members signed, even the PLU, Honorable Kabanda David and his team. We
I like how you call him PLU.
No,
not NUP.
They are NRM. They are NRM, but they have a position they stand on, and to that extent, by them coming and saying we are part of this effort, we don't condone corruption, we want accountability. I have to give credit where it's due. On Monday, we hope NUP are coming, but so far, it has been NRM led. We have members of parliament from Karamoja, from Sebei, in all these other petitions we've had in the past. Those are very difficult members to convince. But you saw them. They stepped forward and signed. So I'm optimistic that let's make a humble contribution. This might not be the end, but we have to have a starting point. We can't sit down. We can't resign. And Oscar, when a country is taken over by cynicism, when a country, the institutions that should act, when they slide into despondency, it's a very dangerous state of affairs. People who are knowledgeable, they are cynic. They say, it's as usual. Then what should we do? You will have parliament, whether this is good or bad, but you will have parliament incidentally. And it is the good people who shun parliament. You allow those who go there to do business on your behalf, to represent you, to hold government accountable, to perform the oversight. The masters, the nafkas of this world who keep on the fence, and they are now pointing fingers at those inside there. These are the realities that we have. And I would like to encourage the good people out there. Let's gear up for 2026. Honorable Nyoto, let's gear up for 2026.
I'm there.
Derek, how I wish that oratory could be on the floor of parliament. And your zeal and the feelings for this country. Namfuka, please don't stay on the fence. You had the point. You have it.
I appreciate where you're coming from on this, but on any matters in parliament, you have your homes. Why didn't you first build your matter? Okay, of course, on the floor of the house when didn't work out the way you wanted in timing, because that's not the end of parliament. But why didn't you also, as a members of the NRM or political parties, write to not to the members? Why didn't you write to you have the chairman of the NRM caucus in the house? Why didn't you? Would have loved to get that paper or that letter as SEC. Then when you fail with the SEC, then you go to the party.
Let me also add in, a lot of people were thinking that one of the ways to stop you,
unless you also think that we are not stakeholders enough.
Hold on, Lydia. I was thinking one of the ways you stop,
because you have a caucus.
When they call a caucus, it might say Ssekikubo stop.
I know, right?
You see.
Microphone back to you.
You see, well, to respond briefly to you know she's my boss. She's a member of SEC.
Yeah.
I vote for her. She's both observation seriously. It is. I take it. But you see, she's now calling me back to that. But the issues we have 4 commissioners. Some are NRM, others belong to other parties now. Would you want to deliberate even on matters where those involved are not your members in parliament? It causes difficulties. Number
would be if you had caucused as NRM first and got the backing of the majority of that caucus, then it would have been much easier to get more signatures. But I see your
Derek
point.
and I were smiling.
I think your point is, been there, done that. We know how that story ends. So it doesn't make sense
He's
for
saying
us to
that's
jump
not
on
what he
that
has said.
futile bandwagon.
That's not what he has
No,
said.
I'm putting words in his mouth.
Okay.
Yes.
For me, I think I wish that letter was never retracted. That they said that that was wrong.
That the letter that brought excitement.
Yes.
but who retracted it? The author was somebody else.
We saw it was retracted, but I think what
was government.
Was it retracted?
That on, if it ever happened. My interest, you see, parliamentary commissioners are sponsored by political parties. Now, where I think members of parliament sometimes lose their case is to assume that they do not need their political parties backing.
For me,
in some cases, but also listen to me. Of course,
there's no time.
Listen to me. After you see NUP failed. You see, NUP, for them, they tried it the party way, it didn't work. So I wanted to understand whether Ssekikubo, they also said, I once beaten for NUP, even NRM we shall fail. But it's good, that goes back to my point. That goes to my point, that you do your part and be on record.
Let him finish off.
Right to the party as well.
Let him finish off.
Not only going on record, I'm telling you the entire 11th parliament is fully supporting this motion, and we are all, as 11th parliament, not even Ssekikubo, but now I'm talking on behalf of the 11th parliament, we are all making it. But now that my boss has provoked me, allow me to remind you, Honorable, that we were in Chankwanzi in June 2022, and we resolved on these commissioners. When we reached parliament, you remember the resolution we took, that commissioners must be elected. And indeed, the person, a member of SEC, is the government chief whip. He's the one who brought these names. To be confirmed, he's the one who read the names. A member of your SEC, did he ever bring these names for confirmation by SEC?
No, but the issue is not about the election
out of time.
commissioners.
Final word on gang, Honorable Ssekikubo. Honorable Ssekikubo, final word on gang.
Why I'm saying this is that Lydia should be applauding me.
Yes.
And the movers
Sure
of the
there
motion.
has.
Because because we are doing what the party ought to have done in the first place.
Thank you. So thank you. Thank you, journalist Derek Wandera, for your contribution on gang. Thank you, Namfi, back on gang. Thank you, Honorable Anyoto, back on gang. Thank you, Honorable Ssekikubo, back on gang as well. We wish you all the best. I hope you succeed. Star Cafe.
The process has already started. You can't
Star Cafe. Star Cafe for powering the gang. Uganda Matters University, where knowledge meets opportunity, for sponsoring gang. I am Oscar Semwe Msoke, and I will see you next week. And debate, as you can hear, is continuing in the studio.